Hello guys, we're live. Hey everyone, just gonna put some lipstick because cold is here, dry season is here. First edition of the Creatrix, Divine Creatrix circle. Got my smoothie. So I'm gonna set the tone for this circle and the next circle to come. Make sure no distraction. We're gonna join all together, and the idea is really to take this moment to connect back to your own divine creatrix, because we all are. If you're joining right now, say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're coming from, which platform do you follow me, or where did you find me first, and where you come from. I want to know who's there. And yeah, so this is all meant for us to connect to our divine creatrix. When I decided to create these free live trainings, my main intention was really to create a safe space, a divine space, so we all remember our magic. When I look at my platforms, this is really the thing that drives me the most. This is my why, to inspire myself and others to remember that we are all magic and that we can create everything that we want in this life. This is the purpose of this game, of the Matrix. But we have to remember it because there's many things in here that are designed to help us forget more than remember. So my whole point, my whole goal, my whole intention is to create a space so that we can remember. We can remember our magic. And so whatever, if you're joining right now or joining, looking at the replay, watching the replay, please let me know in the comments. You can comment replay if you are catching the replay later today or the next days to come. You will be able to rewatch all the trainings on the group. In the group, they will stay there forever. So no rush, no worry. We can just relax and be here. So that would be my invitation right now for everyone who's here right now and everyone watching the replay, to just take a few moments so we come back right here, right now. So I invite you to close your eyes. You can take 2 or 3 deep breaths by your nose and exhale by your mouth. And we'll continue to do that. And as you come back to this moment, you connect to this moment, I want you to imagine every time you inhale, you're inviting everything that you want, the energy, the mental state, the state of beings, the resources, the people, whatever you want to call in your life. I want you to imagine that with every inhale, you're inviting that, and with each exhale, I want you to imagine you're letting go of everything that no longer serves you, whether it's a thought, whether it's a feeling, whether it's a worry, whatever it is. Every time you exhale, you can just imagine letting that go. And you can bring your focus on whatever thing is supporting you right now, whether it's a chair, whether you're sitting on the floor, on your sofa. Just bring your attention on the surface of the thing that is supporting you, and the point of contact with your support in your body. And as you focus on that point of contact, just bring your attention on the ease, the surrender your body can find knowing that it's supported. And I wonder how easily you can just see easily in your life, in your body, in your daily life, all those point of contacts of support. And just know that you are supported and that you're safe. So we'll take 3 other big breaths together. And in the next inhale, exhale, you can open your eyes. And over here right now, as you know, or you don't know, but you know now, this life we will talk about the main reason why you can't manifest what you want. There's a lot of information out there on how to manifest the things that you do want, but we don't often talk about the main blocks or the things that are blocking you from manifesting what you want. And when we talk about those, it's really surface level. And if you've been following my content or you know me personally, you know that I like to go deep. I love spirituality, and I'm all in spirituality because it's a mean to go meet ourselves deeply, but also to remember the wisdom and the truth of life. And life is far from being superficial. So in order for us to create everything that we want, we must go into the depths of life. And so today, and all the other trainings and all the things you can expect from me in terms of content, containers, the one thing that you must know and that will forever be true is that we always go deep. We don't stay at the surface, we go deep. And so to start, I just took some notes because I can go on and on forever and ever about all the subjects. So just to create a little bit of order and structure into our training today, I put some points so we really touch on the main things. To make it simple, so you don't have to run around seeking for more information to understand why you can't manifest what you want in your life. Maybe you've been stuck in the same situation over and over again. Maybe you kind of do the same patterns. Maybe you desire something new, but you end up always in square one. Personally, I've been there many times, whether it is in my fitness journey. I spent years and years of trying everything without being able to lose weight, until the moment I finally manifested my dream body. Then in my romantic relationship, I was always attracting toxic partners and creating a toxic environment in the container of my relationships, romantic relationships. And until I finally decided that I wanted to break free of that, and I manifested my soulmate. And so it's a recurring theme in my life, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about talking about this, because whether it was my fitness journey, whether it is my romantic relationship, whether it is manifesting other dreams like traveling and doing what I want, whatever it is, it always comes back to the same thing. So we don't have to keep chasing for more information. The truth is that the reason we can't manifest what we want is because we are running on autopilot. We have been running on autopilot, and not any kind of autopilot. We have been conditioned and programmed to run in fear. And I'm sure, I don't know if you've realized that, or maybe you're realizing it now, but most of the time when we're running on fear, we are self-sabotaging ourselves. We are self-sabotaging our results. Because when we are running on autopilot, we are acting from the past. To paint a clear picture for you, as of today, the only things that you know and that you've experienced come from the past. The memories, the interactions, the experiences, what you've learned, the evidence you've created from those experiences, all come from the past. And so, if the past has not created what you want, if the past have not brought you the experiences to awaken your full potential, if the past has kept you small, then when you're running on autopilot, you're just creating the future based on the past. And what happens is that you take the past and you bring it into the future. And so the only way to break free of this is to remember and understand that this moment is all we have, because the past is already gone and done. And so if we want to create something that will serve us and it's in alignment with what we truly want, we must take this moment to let go of the past. And I'm sure you've heard that many times, and it sounds cheesy and spiritual, but as I said, we're not just keeping that surface level. So we're going through this training, and later in this training we'll understand more deeply how is that happening in a more step-by-step in your life, so your mind can truly comprehend the vastness and importance of that. So the reason we are most often than not running on autopilot are two things: society, culture, conditioning, and our nature as human beings is based on negative bias. The example I love to give is that when we were all humans, all generations of humans, cavemen, the only way we could survive in the wild is to remember our threats. So the moment we would forget the danger, then we would be in trouble. Because if you didn't remember where the tiger was, where the bear was killing people, or whatever is happening, a bear wouldn't kill people for anything, but the example. If you didn't remember that, then you had more chances to not survive, to die. And so our genetic pool is filled with the ones that remembered the danger. And so our brain is designed still today, even though we are not living in the wild anymore, is still running on detecting the danger first. And so we will remember more easily what's negative than what's positive. And as much as that mechanism has served us, because we're conscious beings, meaning we can bring our attention where we want consciously, it can also be a curse. It is a blessing and a curse, because then we can bring our attention consciously as well into the things that are negative, and so we keep running on that loop of being stuck in fear, negativity, stress, worry, and all the other emotions that we love so much. And so understanding that helps you more deeply understand yourself. Because what often happens when we are running in fear, meaning fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of rejection, all the fears, kind of fear we can experience, which are unconscious patterns, then hi Fred. So yeah, if you're running on those fears, I forgot what I was saying. It's gonna come back in 2, 3, 1. It's gonna come back. If it's meant to be, it's gonna come back. But all of it to say that when we're bringing our conscious attention on those fears, we often think that because unconsciously we detect those fears, that we must keep our attention on them. And so we just keep fueling that fear with our attention. And as they say, is that energy flows where attention goes. And so we detect those fears because we experience them unconsciously, but then we reinforce them consciously without awareness. And so that's why it's so important, because when you understand that your brain does that automatically, if you've been conditioned by your own mechanism, but then reinforced it unconsciously throughout your life, then it's not about hitting yourself on the head for doing that, but understanding that that behavior, that way of being, has been triggered unconsciously and has been running on autopilot unconsciously. And so it's not to hate yourself for that, it's not to be angry at yourself for doing that, but recognizing what you're doing and breaking from it. The first step to any change is awareness, and after that, acceptance. Because if you use fear to break fear, it's not gonna work. You're still reinforcing the same thing. Yeah, so that would be that. Recognizing that we, all human beings, are mostly running on fear, and that we have the power to recognize that, accept that, and then change it. And to change it, we must allow ourselves to be that right now. If you're doing that, if you've realized lately or right now that you've been running on autopilot from fear, the best thing you can do is just recognize it for what it is and let it be for what it is. And because you allow it to be, then you can detach from it. And what I mean by that is that you're not forcing anything onto it, but just understanding that it's happening. And most of the work when it comes to unconscious work, and we're gonna go deeper into that later today, is that our shadows, our wounds, are just parts of ourselves that are waiting and want to be integrated back in love. And so when we despise, when we reject those parts of us because they're not good enough, because we wish we would be different, we are just reinforcing that to be stronger. Because when it comes to the surface, when you realize that you are so worried and so anxious because you've just been thinking negatively about yourself, about your life, you feel in a pit, you feel lost, you feel stuck, the best way to get out is true. The only way out is true. And so the more you try to be somewhere else, the more you wish you would be somewhere else, the more you're enforcing that very fear. Because that fear came up to the surface for you to see, recognize, and understand, so it could be integrated back into light, into love. But the more we send it hate, the more we don't want to look at it, the more we are reinforcing more shadow into it. And so it grows. And because life and your unconscious mind always wants the best for you, always wants for you to thrive and expand, it will just make it sure that it's so obvious that you cannot miss it. And those moments of when fear is intense in our life, we actually take that as punishment, as something bad, because we were not good enough, we didn't work enough, we didn't do things in the right order or perfectly, when all of it was life bringing that into our faces so we could and can transmute it. So let me know in the chat right now. Comment yes if you recognize that in your life, and if you are ready to let it go. So let me know with the yes in the chat if you're ready to let that go. And I'm gonna give you some practical things during this live, so we can break that thing and we can remember that we all are divine creatrixes. Yes, Maria said yes, yes, yes. Because for real, as I said at the beginning, my life truly shifted when I stopped trying to go find the problem in all of the problems I had, and understood that all problems run on the same program. Because at the end of the day, life is the creation, the manifestation of the laws of creation, meaning the laws of the universe. And so it's fundamental truths and energetic containers that create everything else from that. So it's not everything is different, everything is the same, everything is connected. And when we understand that at a bigger level, our life gets so easy. And the main thing can be ease in our life, because we don't have to overcomplicate ourselves. Life is simple, energy is simple, and energy doesn't lie. And so when we understand that everything is energy, we can see it for what it is, and then transmute, transform, and expand from that. So the main second point that comes from the fact that we're running on autopilot, on fear, the second thing that explains why you can't manifest what you want is that from that autopilot, you are running on different conditionings, meaning your upbringing, generational upbringing, whether it is resources, whether it is trauma. You also are running on a conditioning from society, from culture, where you are, from your environment where you were created. And so we must understand that we have an unconscious mind, and that our unconscious mind is responsible for 95% of what we see in our reality. Our unconscious mind is responsible to remember, encode, embody, incarnate everything that we've seen from the age of 0 to 7. After 7 years old, we are building our critical mind, which means that we can discern things for ourselves. But before that, our mind is just a sponge, and it is absorbing everything that it is seeing is its reality to understand how to function in reality. And so if you grew up in an environment that is not what you want for your future, the reason you can't manifest what you want is that your conscious desires, what you want in your heart, the things that you want for yourself, are not in alignment with the unconscious programmings. And it's easy to understand that because our unconscious mind is no older than 7 years old, it means that we are still running on programs that we learned at that age and reinforce it through our lifetime. And so it's not about, again, finding the problem of why we can't manifest, but to find where there is conflict and disalignment so we can bring our conscious desires in alignment with our unconscious programming. And so if you're desiring ease, peace, love, bliss, abundance in your life, but you look objectively at your, and honestly and objectively at your daily life, let's say in the past week, the past month, the past 2 months, and the main energy that is present in that span is other than what you want, we must be really honest with ourselves that if we continue doing the same things we've done, we will not have the results we want. Again, I really love to paint clear pictures so you understand how your unconscious mind is working and why you're creating the reality that you're creating, so that you can remember your sovereign power and remember that you are a creatrix, a divine creatrix, that you have the power, the knowledge, the wisdom, the energetic capacity to create the things that you want. And again, the only problem why we can't do that is because we forget and we stay plugged in, or continue to be plugged in things that fuel our ignorance, things that reinforce that we forget instead of remembering. And so for you to understand, one, your unconscious mind is based on negative bias, so you understand that. So now you can see your life on that, and when you your focus goes straight into what's bad, what's wrong, you understand that's a protective mechanism. You can recognize it for it, but you don't have to believe that this is the truth. That because this problem happened in your life, that it means that your whole life is ruined. It's just that you're bringing your attention into it, and it grows because energy flows where attention goes. But it's not because you brought your attention automatically into the negative that it means that your whole life is negative. It just means that your attention is on the negativity right now because that's your mechanism. So now you can take a step back, recognize a pattern, and choose sovereignly that your life is not that your life is bliss, peace, and love. And recognize it for what it is, receive its lessons, receive its wisdom, the negative thing that's happening there, and then move on. And so after understanding that, the second thing we must understand about our unconscious mind is that we have our own algorithm. Just like TikTok, Instagram, any platform that you use and know, the more you interact with certain content, the more that type of content is shown back to you. Because it makes your life easier. You don't have to look through all the platforms and all the internet to find what you like. It's done for you. The more you interact with it, the more it comes back into your reality. And your brain does the same thing. Because we are negative biased, but we also are confirmation biased. Meaning that your mind has literally a filter that is called the reticular activated system that filters the information you're taking in the moment and only selects what is important for you to look for confirmation outside in your outside reality. And so I like to give that example I don't remember where I read this, but it's been many years I read that. And there was a study made on people that felt unlucky and people that felt lucky in their life. So people who believed that were unlucky and people who believed that were lucky. And so the study was that they did two research program on a journal, newspaper, and they wrote in one part of the newspaper, if you feel unlucky, if you believe that you're an unlucky person, we're doing a study, blah blah blah, and you can contact us here and you'll receive this. And they did the same thing for the people who believe that we're lucky. And of course, because of confirmation bias, the unlucky people saw the page for the unlucky people, and the other ones, the lucky people, for the lucky people. And the study was that they would give an address to both unlucky people and lucky people to go there and to ring at that address. And after they rang, they would make them wait like 20 minutes. And right beside the door, there was like money. I don't remember, maybe a 20, 100 bill on the floor. And they placed it not obvious enough that people would see it, but clear enough that it was seeable if you were waiting at the door. And like, it was something crazy, like 80% of unlucky people never saw the money, and like 80 to 90% of lucky people found the money. And the main explanation for that is literally your reticular activated system, your own algorithm. Everything it does on a daily basis is generalizing, deleting, and distorting information. So literally, the glasses through which you see are changing the actual reality that's in front of you. And so for the unlucky people, as they were seeing through the lenses, and they were like, I'm not lucky, and that's an unconscious belief, the brain confirms that into the reality, and for them to confirm that they are unlucky, they cannot be lucky. And so to be unlucky means that good things don't come to you easily. They don't appear like that because you are out of luck. And so to make that a reality in their reality, they must delete the money on the floor. And so literally, people don't see it. It's not because they didn't look at it. It's because their mind is literally blocking the money from them to see it. It's crazy like that. And when you understand that, you won't ever settle for those programs. And although you don't have full control over them yet, you can become aware of them. Because the only way, I'm gonna say it really clearly and repeat it afterwards, the only way to change something and to break those unconscious patterns is to make the unconscious conscious. The only way to change something is to make my tongue doesn't want to cooperate with me. The only way to change something is to make the unconscious conscious. And so it comes back to this point one that I said, that awareness is your best friend. Awareness is your best friend. And to become aware is one, be objective, meaning that you're experiencing a subjective reality that seems really real, but to become objective, you must realize that there's something bigger than your reality right now. Meaning all of those things that I mentioned today, how your unconscious works, and the laws of the universe. We can stay in our subjectivity and feel the weight of the world and experience all those consequences, but until we realize that there's something bigger than that, we will continue to run on unconscious programmings. Let me know in the chat, say I'm ready, if you're ready to detach from those unconscious programs that no longer serve you. Let me know in the chat, write, I'm ready, if you're ready, starting now, to declare that you will no longer settle for the fear autopilots, the fear programmings that are keeping you small. Because I don't know about you, but we're over it. I'm over it. I'm sure you're over it too. There's too many things to see in this world to not see them. You know what I mean? Yay! 1,000,000% ready! Yay! That's what I'm talking about. Like, literally, there's so many things in this world to experience, to live, to embody, to not want to see them. Like, I mean, there's so many things, so many possibilities that we don't even know exist for us. And so why not explore, you know? Worst case scenario, it's like 10% better than it was before. And most case scenarios is that it's gonna be like 1,000,000% better. At least it is for my life. And the last thing I wanted to talk about today, I said it a little bit at the beginning, and I'm gonna go deeper maybe into examples that apply in my life, but we often talk about limiting belief and how beliefs create your reality. And it's true when you understand your unconscious programs and how your unconscious works. But personally, you know, now we're gonna go a step deeper. And in all honesty, and I know it can be controversial, but I do believe that your beliefs don't create your reality. Because again, if we go back into the objective view of everything that is, it's a step deeper than your beliefs. Is the connection and the relation you have to your beliefs. Because beneath all limiting belief is the same operation, the same energetic, dynamic relationship, exchange of energy that is supporting all limiting beliefs. Whether it is you feel unlucky, whether you believe you're unworthy of love, whether you believe that success brings stress into your life, whether you believe money is evil, whether you believe you don't have the genes to have the physique that you want, underneath all of those things is the energetic connection we have to them. It is literally the connection that is fueling that belief. Because again, energy flows where attention goes. And so if you had no connection soever to, let's say, I'm unworthy of love. Let's say you had no connection at all with that. It wouldn't be part of your reality. It wouldn't even be part of the possibilities of your reality because you had no connection with it. Let's say, I don't know, someone whose name Vanessa who lives in Boston right now. Like, I don't know any Vanessa from Boston. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that it exists. To be real, there for sure are Vanessas in Boston, but maybe not. There's still a possibility that maybe not. And so the only reason I'm not aware of that is that I have no connection to any Vanessa from Boston. I cannot know for sure. But if I had one, I for sure knew there would be one Vanessa in Boston. And so it's maybe a silly example, but I like to paint a clear picture for you that the only reason that the limiting beliefs that you have are directing your reality are not so much of the beliefs themselves, but the connection you have with them. Because this thing I forgot to say about the reticular activated system, meaning your own algorithm, is that the way it filters information, it's not so much about the information, but about the emotional intensity you have with that information. And so it comes back to, it's the connection, the relation you have with those beliefs, with those thoughts, that create your reality more than the beliefs themselves create your reality. So when you are connected to fear, when your the most emotional intensity that is in your life is fear, fear will create the most emotional intensity in you, and so is the most important thing for you to acknowledge. And emotional intensity doesn't mean that you value it consciously or that you want it. It's just emotional intensity, the feeling, emotion that creates the most intensity emotionally for you. And so if you react easily to fear, and for you every time there's fear there's panic, for sure there's more emotional intensity in you that if you were to have a peaceful, neutral, detached event in your life situation. If you have a situation that triggers fear, you will have more emotional intensity in that experience than if you experience a situation of ease, detachment, or even peace. Fear will create more emotional intensity because we were conditioned with that, and because also there is a survival mechanism in it. But the moment we again detach from the subjectivity of each experience and see back through our eyes of Divine Creatrix, how did your video live and finally found out? Oh, so sorry. I think, yeah, I have to put it back because I wanted to make sure that the live stay on the Facebook group. And so the event was to remind you, but I was scared that if I do the live on the event page, it's gonna disappear because the date. So I'm always hosting. I'm gonna write them. Thank you, Stephanie. I'm so sorry that you struggle finding it. I thought that you would receive like a notification or something, but yeah, I'm gonna write it. Thank you for letting me know. It's gonna be always on the group specifically, so it stays on the group. But yeah, so because of the conditioning of fear being more emotional intense, we are more easily emotionally triggered with fear. But as we see that through our eyes of Divine Creatrix, and we remember the truth is that we are always connected to love. That the only the only treat, yes, but the only real reality and truth. I wanted to say reality and truth at the same time, and it was treat, truth, and reality. So the only truth, the expanded truth of the universe, is that everything that exists is love. And I'm gonna go deeper into that because it could be a whole training on just that in the future weeks. Let me know if that's something you want to know more about. But the only truth is that everything is love. Love is all there is. And so the moment we remember that, we can recognize that even fear is here to serve us. That even the uncomfortable feelings are here to help us come back to love. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that exists. And when we start to connect, have that relation with fear itself, then the belief change. then the belief that create a reality, whether we still think that we are unlucky sometimes, or we still think, why me? Even if those thoughts come into our minds, we're not creating that reality anymore, because we have a different relational dynamic with those thoughts. We don't feel fear more into them. We feel love, because we are like, oh yeah, true. Even if that's uncomfortable right now, I know that this is bringing something for me to come back to love. And the relational dynamic is different. And so naturally the beliefs change. And so if there's something about this that I want you to remember, I'm just looking at the time. We're almost done. I'm gonna keep like 5 minutes to answer any question. How can you always detach from your subjective reality without repressing it or denying it? That's not it. We don't want to repress our feelings. We don't want to deny our emotions. We want to see them for what they are. It's not about repressing them or denying them, but how can we detach, take a step back, and actually see them for what they are, instead of tinting them with our subjective reality and making them worse or making them bad when they never were. And so again, beneath all limiting beliefs is the same truth, and it is that we are disconnected from source. We are no longer in love. We are in fear. And so how can you cultivate that dynamic relationship with love, with source in your daily life? When you do things, how you think, how you feel, and how can you remember that truth over and over again? Because I said first, how to change anything, we have to make the unconscious conscious, but then it's all about repetition. There's only 2 ways to reprogram the unconscious mind, one being repetition, and the second one is going directly into the unconscious mind, which is hypnosis, deep state of meditation, all of that. But in our daily life, if we're not using hypnosis every time, or if we don't have the skills to go into that deep meditative state by ourselves, how can we repeat the truth again and again and come back to the truth? And every time we fall back, we remember the truth again, because every time we fall back is just an opportunity to remember again and remember again. And so if you're ready right now to remember your truth, let me know in the chat and declare it right now. I'm ready to come back to love, and I'm ready to choose love from this day until forever, because that's the only truth that is. As a divine creatrix, you know that the only thing that exists is love. And as a divine creatrix, you know that you have the sovereign power to create everything that you want, because energy flows where attention goes. And so you don't have to stay in denial. You don't have to stay in ignorance. We can reclaim that power back and decide that starting today, we are choosing love in all shapes of forms. And I said that I wanted to give an example of my life. I'm gonna give one that can be easily applied in any type of context. For 6 years, I tried to lose weight. After my first toxic relationship in high school, during all that time, all my life, I've been pretty skinny. Like, I didn't eat much. And during that relationship, I lost even more weight because I was in a toxic cycle. And after that relationship ended, I gained like 40 pounds in less than 6 months, I think. And the only thing I did is because I was no longer in survival and I started eating normally. But when you are in deficit for a real long time, to protect yourself, your body will just capitalize in all the calories, all the food that you have, to make sure you are no longer in danger. And of course, I didn't have the most healthy relationship with food first, but choices as well, healthy diet either. And so yeah, I gained 40 pounds. And so after that, I spent 6 years trying to do everything I could to lose it. I would go to the gym, do intense sessions of cardio. I would take diet pills. Like, it was the time of the beginning of Instagram, so I would like take like detox tea. I'm sure remember, for those who were on Instagram in that time too, all the companies that would sell like teas to lose weight and all of the other crazy stuff. And so I was hustling to lose that weight, literally hustling. And one day I started learning about mindset and all of those things, and I was starting to become more aware, but not still aware of what I actually did consciously. But when I learned about NLP and everything I'm teaching you right now, the unconscious mind, after a few years back, I realized that I have done exactly that. But for me, it was life that taught me, because right before I decided to lose weight, I was in university and we went to a spring break to Cuba. And all we did is eat and drink alcohol all day long. And so when I came back from that trip, I was feeling so disgusted. Not with myself, yes, but with how I was feeling. I was feeling so bad, that I remember the day after we came back, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, Lena, this is it. Like, we're over this. We no longer do this. Like, I'm over it. I remember I was looking at my body, but I was seeing through my body, like seeing my state behind my body, and I was like, I'm over this. I'm over this. I don't want to feel like this ever again. Ever again. And so this is the first time my relationship with losing weight changed. It was no longer a thing because I hated my body and I needed to change, but more, I love my body so much that I can't feel like this anymore. Like, I want to love myself. I want to feel good. I don't want to beat myself up because I don't look good enough. I want to do things to feel good so I can look good. And so I started approaching the gym, how I was eating, very differently. It was like, I hate cardio. Why do I force myself to run if I hate it? It doesn't make me feel good, so I'm not gonna do things that don't make me feel good, because my priority is to feel good, not to look good. It was still in my mind, but I became aware that feeling good was my way to look good. And so I started lifting weights because that I wanted to do and I loved to do, and it made me feel good. Every time I would eat something that made me feel bad, I would take note of that, because it was like, I'm doing this to feel good. Now I don't feel good anymore. So why continue doing this? I'm gonna do things to feel good. Same thing for the amount of food I was eating. Before, I would binge eat, overeat. Then the moment I would surpass my limit of being full, I would stop, because I was like, I don't feel good anymore. This is not what I want. I want to eat in a way that makes me feel good. And in a year, less than a year and a half, I literally manifested my dream body. And just to mention that all this time, and since I was really young, I believed that I didn't have the genes to have a flat stomach, six-pack. I started really young when I was in gymnastics. Like, I had like a little pouch like any woman or most women, and most of my classmates would have like really, really flat stomach. And so I made the belief that I was just not lucky because they were born like that and I wasn't born like this. So it meant that I couldn't have that type of abdomen because it wasn't me. And I remember one day, I didn't even realize I was losing weight, but I was doing an exercise, shoulder I forgot the name. Oh my god. For those who know me, it's like I was doing shoulder exercise and I look at myself and I kind of saw the definition of my abs and I was like, wait, what? I can have abs? How is that possible? And so it's crazy that I did it unconsciously because I started to connect and attach a more important relationship to feeling good than to forcing myself to look good, which didn't feel good at all. If you've been there, you know. And now, with all that I know and with my experience, the thing that shifted that whole experience is that I stopped being in fear of not looking good enough and trying to hustle to find a thing that was the quickest thing I could do to not feel that fear anymore. But I was using fear to not feel fear. And the moment I turned back into love and I was like, you know what? I want to feel good. I'm over this. I want to feel good. And I started connecting to that. It was literally a quantum shift, quantum leap. It took me less time than I could ever imagine it could take me. And it happened in a way that I didn't even have to force myself, and that it happened naturally. Like, for me to be surprised that I have abs and to just wake up one day and realize I had abs, it's like, it gives you the picture of when you're in the flow, everything happens for you. And I was still putting in the work, but I was not forcing myself to put in the work. I was doing it because it was fueling me. And so again, that is the power of love. And when I say love, I want to include all of the textures of love that exist, including darkness and discomfort because it's part of it, but so we can make sure we understand that love is bliss, peace, neutrality, detachment, excitement, joy, mindfulness, all the emotions that makes you feel good are the indication that you are remembering your truth. Because energy doesn't lie. And if you feel other than love and you come back to the triggers, the fear, the anxiousness, the stress, remember that it is an opportunity for you to come back into love. That's really all there is. Our fun journey on earth. So that is what concludes today's live. Please let me know in the comments if you're watching the replay, and for those who are not here right now on the live, please let me know any comments that you have and I can answer them here in the comments or maybe in future trainings if it's a longer form answer. And so yeah, that concludes everything for today. If you cannot manifest what you want, 1, running on autopilot, that means that you are in connection with fear. 2, how can you make your conscious desires align with your unconscious programmings? How can you become aware of your own algorithm, and how can you stop interacting with the content you don't want to see anymore and start interacting with the content that you do want to see? Just like liking and double tapping on TikTok, Instagram, or everywhere else, how can you do that in your life? This I don't like, I'm gonna stop interacting with it. This I like, I'm gonna continue interacting with it. And remember that your algorithm is gonna change, and then your reality will change too. And finally, how many times can you come back in love? And how easily can you realize when you're invited to come back to love? That is it for today. my prayer for all of us is to realize that every day is an opportunity for us to create even more magic, and that we are divine creatrix. We are everything because we are life. Thank you for being here. We'll see each other next Monday. I'm excited. And again, let me know in the comments any questions that you have. And I'm excited for the rest. Cheers to all the magic that is yet to come. Yay! Bye!